The average British family spends £116 a week on groceries, over £6,000 a year. In 1975, your grandmother fed a family of 5 on less than £8 a week and nobody went hungry. She did not have Ocado or meal kits in cardboard boxes. She had knowledge. And that knowledge is exactly what supermarkets have spent 50 years trying to bury. Number 18 has been actively discouraged by food packaging since 1991, despite saving households over £400 a year. Number 3 is so effective the entire ready meal industry depends on you never finding out about it. These are not gourmet hacks from celebrity chefs. They are the brutal practical tricks that kept British families fed for generations on a fraction of what we spend today. Subscribe and hit that bell because your Tesco trolley will never look the same. Let us count down the 25 illegal kitchen secrets that will slash your weekly food bill. Number 25. Freezing milk before the use-by date. The average British household throws away 490 million pints of milk every single year. That is money poured directly down the sink. But here is the secret the dairy industry never advertises. Milk freezes perfectly. Pour off a small amount to allow for expansion, seal the cap, and lay it flat in the freezer. It keeps for up to 3 months. When you need it, move it to the fridge the night before. It thaws completely and tastes identical. The texture changes very slightly for drinking, barely noticeable in tea, but for cooking, baking, porridge, and sauces, it is absolutely indistinguishable from fresh. A 4-pint bottle costs about £1.55. Most families waste at least one a fortnight. That is over £40 a year on milk alone, just vanishing because nobody told you the freezer was an option. Your grandmother never threw milk away. She could not afford to. Number 24. Regrowing spring onions from the roots. This one sounds like something from an allotment newsletter, but it saves a surprising amount over a year. When you use spring onions, do not throw away the white root end. Drop those stumps into a glass of water on the windowsill. Within 5 days, you will have fully regrown spring onions. The same roots will regenerate 3 or 4 times before they give up. A bunch costs 65 pence at most supermarkets. If you use spring onions weekly, that is roughly £25 a year in savings from what is essentially kitchen waste. No soil needed, no garden needed. Just a glass and a windowsill that gets a bit of light. The fact that supermarkets sell you the whole plant knowing full well the root regenerates tells you everything about where their priorities lie. Number 23. Buying whole chickens instead of breasts. This is simple arithmetic that the meat aisle is designed to hide from you. A whole chicken at Aldi costs around £3.50. That same weight in chicken breasts costs over £7. But a whole chicken gives you more than just breast meat. You get thighs, drumsticks, wings, and crucially, the carcass. Those breasts come off in 2 minutes with a sharp knife. The legs and thighs make a second meal. And the carcass, boiled with an onion, carrot, and a bay leaf for 90 minutes, makes a stock that would cost £2.50 in a carton. 1 chicken, 3 meals, plus free stock, versus 2 chicken breasts that make 1 meal. The supermarket wants you buying the convenient option because the markup on pre-butchered meat is where their profit sits. Learning to break down a chicken takes 10 minutes the first time. After that, you will never buy a breast fillet again. Number 22. Batch cooking and portioning mince. When beef mince goes on yellow sticker, experienced shoppers buy 2 kilos and cook it all at once with onions and garlic. Plain browned mince with no seasoning. Then they portion it into freezer bags, 500 grams at a time. From that base, you can make bolognese on Monday, chili on Wednesday, shepherd's pie on Friday, and tacos on Saturday. Each meal takes 15 minutes because the longest part, browning the mince, is already done. Buying 2 kilos of reduced mince at £2 per kilo instead of full price at £5, 50 pence per kilo, saves over £7 in a single shop. Multiply that across a year of smart shopping, and you are looking at hundreds saved. Your grandmother did not call this meal prep. She called it common sense. Number 21. Making porridge from supermarket own-brand oats. A 1 kilogram bag of Tesco own-brand porridge oats costs 75 pence. A box of branded instant porridge sachets costs £2.80 for 360 grams. That means the branded version costs roughly 10 times more per gram. The ingredients are identical: oats. That is it. The sachets add sugar, powdered milk, and flavoring that you could replicate with a teaspoon of honey and a splash of milk for a fraction of the cost. A family of 4 eating porridge for breakfast 5 days a week spends roughly £36 a year on own-brand oats versus over £360 on branded sachets. The difference is £324. For oats, the exact same oats. Number 20. Using a washing-up bowl for vegetables instead of running the tap. This is not a cooking trick. It is a utility trick that slashes your water bill and your food bill simultaneously. Fill a bowl with cold water. Wash your vegetables in the bowl, not under a running tap. You use roughly 6 liters under a running tap versus 2 liters in a bowl. But the real trick is what you do next. That vegetable water, full of soil and nutrients, goes straight onto your window box herbs or garden pots. You are watering plants with wastewater while growing free herbs that cost £1 a pot at Sainsbury's. Over a year, the water savings alone are roughly £30. The free herbs add another £50 or more. Your nan did this without thinking. We forgot because kitchens got bigger and water got cheaper. Until now. Number 19. Turning stale bread into breadcrumbs. British households throw away 20 million slices of bread every single day. Every single day. That is enough to fill Wembley Stadium 3 times a week. Meanwhile, a 200-gram bag of breadcrumbs costs £1.20 at the supermarket. The maths here is offensive. Take your stale bread, blitz it in a food processor or grate it by hand. Spread the crumbs on a baking tray and dry them in a low oven for 10 minutes. Store them in a jar. They keep for months. Use them for coating fish fingers, topping macaroni cheese, thickening soups, or making stuffing. A family that bakes and cooks regularly uses breadcrumbs at least twice a week. That is over £60 a year you are spending on something that your bin is already full of. First pattern break. Here is where things get interesting. The yellow sticker. That little reduced label in the corner of the packaging is the single most powerful weapon in the British shopper's arsenal, and supermarkets are terrified of people who understand how to use it properly. Most stores do their first reduction at lunchtime, knocking 25% off items approaching their sell-by date. But the real savings happen after 7 p.m. when prices drop by 75% or more. Experienced yellow sticker shoppers know exactly which stores reduce at what time. Tesco typically does final reductions between 7 and 8 p.m. Sainsbury's varies by store, but often hits hardest around 6:30 p.m. The trick is not just grabbing what is cheap, it is buying what freezes well. Meat, bread, pastries and cheese all freeze brilliantly. A yellow sticker shopper spending £15 on reduced items is buying £60 worth of food. Over a month, that is a saving of £180. Over a year, £2,160. Supermarkets introduced yellow stickers to reduce waste. They did not expect customers to build entire meal plans around them. Some stores have actually reduced the size of their yellow sticker sections because too many people were gaming the system. That tells you everything. Number 17. Making your own stock from vegetable scraps. Every time you peel a carrot, trim a celery stalk, or chop an onion, the scraps go in the bin. Stop. Keep a freezer bag in the freezer. Every offcut goes in the bag. Carrot peels, onion skins, celery tops, mushroom stalks, herb stems. When the bag is full, tip it into a large pot, cover with water, add a bay leaf and a few peppercorns, and simmer for 45 minutes. Strain it. You now have a litre of vegetable stock that tastes better than anything in a cube or a carton. A litre of fresh stock costs £2 at the supermarket. You can make this once a week from scraps that were heading for the bin. That is over £100 a year in free stock. Professional kitchens have done this forever. They call it making fond. Your grandmother called it not being wasteful. Same thing. Number 16. Soaking dried beans instead of buying tinned. A 500-gram bag of dried chickpeas costs about 89 pence and yields roughly 1.2 kilos when cooked. 3 tins of chickpeas, giving you the same amount, cost £2 and 37 pence. You are paying nearly 3 times more for water and a tin. The only cost is time. Soak them overnight. Boil them for an hour. They taste better than tinned, have better texture, and contain no added salt or preservatives. Cook a full bag on Sunday and use them across the week in curries, salads, stews, and hummus. Switching from tinned to dried pulses across all your cooking saves the average household over £150 a year. The tin is convenient. The bag is cheap. Your grandmother never saw a tin of chickpeas in her life, and she made better hummus than anything Waitrose sells. Number 15. Diluting squash properly instead of buying juice. A bottle of Robinson's squash costs £1.50 and makes roughly 30 glasses. A carton of branded orange juice costs £1.80 and gives you 6 glasses. Per glass, juice costs 30 pence. Squash costs 5 pence. For a family drinking 2 glasses each per day, juice runs to £876 a year. Squash runs to £146. The saving is over £700 just on drinks. Children do not care. They genuinely do not. They will drink squash happily. The juice industry has spent decades convincing parents that cartons of reconstituted concentrate are somehow healthier than squash, while both are essentially sugar water. Your grandmother gave everyone squash and nobody developed scurvy. Number 14. Growing herbs on the windowsill instead of buying cut packs. A pack of fresh basil from Tesco costs £1. It goes brown in 4 days. A living basil plant from the same store costs £1.10 and lasts for months if you water it and pick from the top. Same with parsley, coriander, chives, and mint. The living plant is renewable. The cut pack is designed to die in your fridge. If you use herbs 3 times a week, cut packs cost roughly £156 a year. Living plants cost about £6 and 60 pence for the year, assuming you replace each one twice. That is a saving of nearly £150 on herbs alone. Your Nan had a mint plant in the garden that outlived most of her neighbours. She never once bought a cellophane sachet of herbs from a refrigerated shelf. Number 13. Making packed lunches instead of buying meal deals. The average Tesco meal deal costs £3 and 60 pence. Over 5 working days, that is £18 a week, or £936 a year. A homemade packed lunch using batch-cooked leftovers, own-brand bread, and a piece of fruit costs roughly 80 pence. That is £4 a week, or £208 a year. The difference is £728 for one person. If both adults in a household switch, you are saving £1,456 a year. The meal deal is engineered to feel like a bargain. A sandwich, a drink, and a snack for £3 and 60 pence. What a steal. But compared to what a bit of preparation can do, it is one of the most expensive habits in Britain. Your grandmother would have fainted at the idea of spending £3 and 60 pence on a sandwich wrapped in plastic. Second pattern break. Supermarket layout psychology. Here is something the industry absolutely does not want you to understand. Every single aisle in every major supermarket is designed by behavioral psychologists to make you spend more. Essential items like milk, bread, and eggs are placed at the back of the store so you walk past hundreds of impulse items to reach them. Eye-level shelves are reserved for the most profitable products, not the best value. Own-brand alternatives are consistently placed on the bottom shelf where you have to bend down to find them. End-of-aisle displays feel like deals, but are often just regular-priced products given prominent placement. The bakery pumps out fresh bread smell near the entrance to trigger hunger and impulse buying. Even the floor tiles change near expensive sections to slow your trolley. Studies from the University of Bangor found that shoppers who write a list and stick to it spend 23% less than those who browse. Your grandmother never browsed. She walked in with a list written on the back of an envelope, bought exactly what was on it, and left. She could not be manipulated because she was not wandering. She had a mission. A list is not organization, it is armor. Number 11. Cooking from frozen instead of fresh. Frozen vegetables are picked and frozen within hours of harvest, locking in nutrients at their peak. Fresh vegetables travel for days, sometimes weeks, losing vitamins the entire time. A 1 kilogram bag of frozen peas costs 72 pence. Fresh peas in the pod cost around £3 per kilo when in season and more when they are not. Frozen spinach costs 85 pence per kilo. Fresh spinach costs £6 per kilo. The frozen version has equal or higher nutritional value according to research from Sheffield Hallam University, costs a fraction of the price, and never goes off in the bottom of your fridge. A household switching just half their vegetable purchases to frozen saves roughly £520 a year. The fresh produce aisle looks beautiful. It is designed to look beautiful. But beauty comes at a price, and that price is about 10 quid a week that you did not need to spend. Number 10. Using a slow cooker for cheap cuts of meat. A slow cooker uses roughly 15 pence of electricity for 8 hours of cooking. An oven uses about £1.20 for the same duration. That alone saves over £1 per meal, but the real saving is in the meat. A slow cooker turns a £2 pack of stewing beef into something that tastes like it came from a gastropub. Shin, chuck, brisket and scrag, and all become meltingly tender after 6 to 8 hours on low. These cuts cost a third of the price of prime cuts. A weekly slow cooker meal using cheap beef saves roughly £5 compared to buying sirloin or fillet. Over a year, that is £260 from one meal per week. Your grandmother's pressure cooker did the same job in 45 minutes. We covered that trick in another video, but the slow cooker is the modern equivalent. Set it in the morning. Come home to a house that smells like Sunday dinner on a Tuesday. That is not just savings, that is quality of life. Number 9. Making your own curry paste. A jar of branded curry sauce costs between £2 and £3.50. It makes one meal. A homemade curry paste using own brand spices costs roughly 30 pence per batch and makes 4 meals. The base is always the same. Onion, garlic, ginger, tinned tomatoes and spices, cumin, coriander, turmeric, chili powder and garam masala. Buy them in the World Foods aisle, not the spice aisle, where the same product costs 3 times less for 5 times the quantity. A 400-gram bag of ground cumin from the World Foods section costs £1.50. The same spice in a branded jar costs £2.20 for 38 grams. That is a 1,500% markup. Once you have your base spices, a family curry costs under £3 for 4 portions. The jarred version costs £8 for the same. Switching saves over £250 a year. Indian grandmothers have always known this. British grandmothers knew the same principle with their stew seasonings. The jar is a tax on forgetting how to cook. Number 8. Batch baking bread at home. A 800-gram loaf from the supermarket costs about £1.35 for own brand, more for anything decent. A homemade loaf uses roughly 500 grams of flour at 65 pence per 1.5 kilogram bag, a teaspoon of yeast, salt and water. Total cost per loaf, approximately 22 pence. Even accounting for energy costs, a home-baked loaf comes in under 35 pence. A family going through 3 loaves a week saves over £150 a year by baking their own. The process takes 10 minutes of active work. Mix, knead, leave it to rise, shape, bake. Your grandmother did this twice a week without thinking. She did not have a bread machine. She had a wooden table and her hands. The bread was better than anything wrapped in plastic on a shelf. Modern yeast is faster and more reliable than what she used. There is genuinely no excuse except the one the bread industry sells you, that it is too difficult. It is not. A child can make bread. Millions of them did. Number 7. Refilling water bottles instead of buying bottled water. The average British family spends £104 a year on bottled water. British tap water is among the safest and most rigorously tested in the world. It costs 0.1 pence per litre from the tap versus roughly 65 pence per litre in a bottle. The bottled water industry is worth £2.4 billion in the UK, built almost entirely on the illusion that tap water is somehow inferior. It is not. If you dislike the taste, a filter jug costs £15 and lasts a year. That is still a saving of nearly £90 compared to buying bottles. This is not even a kitchen trick, it is just mathematics that the drinks industry prays you never do. Number 6. Planning meals around what is already in the cupboard. The average British household throws away £60 worth of food every month. That is £720 a year in the bin. Most of it is food that was bought without a plan, shoved in the fridge and forgotten. The fix is stupidly simple. Before you write your shopping list, open every cupboard and the fridge. Write down what you already have. Plan your meals around those ingredients first. Then only buy what you are missing. This single habit, looking before you shop, reduces food waste by up to 40% according to WRAP, the Waste and Resources Action Programme. That is a saving of £288 a year from doing nothing more than opening your cupboard door before you leave the house. Your grandmother never threw food away. Not because she was virtuous, because she could not afford to. We can learn from that. Third pattern break. Here is something that will genuinely shock you. Supermarket-owned brand products are often made in the exact same factories, by the exact same machines, with the exact same ingredients as the premium branded versions sitting next to them on the shelf. The label is different. The price is different. The product inside is identical. This is not conspiracy. This is public knowledge confirmed by factory workers, food industry insiders, and occasionally by the brands themselves when pressed. Own brand baked beans, tinned tomatoes, pasta, rice, flour, butter, and cheese are frequently indistinguishable from their branded equivalents in blind taste tests. A family switching entirely to own brand for their weekly shop saves between 30% and 40% on their total bill. On a £116 weekly shop, that is £35 to £46 saved per week, up to £2,400 a year, just by reaching for the bottom shelf. The branding exists to charge you more for the same thing. That is its only purpose. Number 4. Making soup from whatever is left on Friday. Friday soup. That is what your grandmother called it. Whatever was left in the fridge at the end of the week went into a pot with stock and seasoning. Soft carrots, half an onion, a lonely potato, the end of a leek, a few mushrooms that had seen better days. Chopped, simmered, blended, or left chunky. A pot of soup that cost nothing because every ingredient was already paid for and about to be wasted. A homemade soup serves 4 generously and takes 30 minutes. A tin of branded soup costs £1.60 and serves 1. A fresh supermarket soup costs £2.50 and serves 2. Friday soup costs effectively 0 and saves whatever you would have spent replacing those meals. Conservative estimate, £15 a week. That is £780 a year, from a pot and a bit of imagination. Number 3. Cooking from scratch instead of buying ready meals. This is the one the entire convenience food industry is built on you avoiding. A supermarket lasagna for 2 costs £3.50. Homemade lasagna for 4 costs £3.80. That is half the price per portion, double the servings, and 3 times the flavor. A chicken tikka masala ready meal costs £2.75 for 1 portion. The homemade version costs £4.50 and feeds 4 comfortably. That is 69 pence per portion versus £2.75. The ready meal industry in Britain is worth over £3.8 billion annually. It exists because we have been convinced that cooking is difficult, time-consuming, and somehow not worth the effort. A spag bowl from scratch takes 25 minutes. A shepherd's pie takes 40 minutes, most of it unattended. A family eating ready meals 4 nights a week spends roughly £2,860 a year on dinners. The same family cooking from scratch spends roughly £1,040. The saving is £1,820, nearly £2,000, for learning to chop an onion and follow a recipe. Number 2. Shopping at multiple stores instead of doing one big shop. Brand loyalty to a single supermarket is costing British families an average of £1,300 a year, according to price comparison data. Aldi and Lidl consistently undercut the Big Four by 20% to 30% on staples. But even within the Big Four, prices vary wildly on specific items. Tesco might be cheapest for chicken. Sainsbury's might have the best deal on cheese. Asda might be winning on tinned goods that week. The smartest shoppers split their shop. Staples and basics from Aldi or Lidl, specific items from wherever has the best price that week. Yes, it takes slightly more time, but not as much as you think. 2 stops instead of 1. An extra 15 minutes for savings of £25 a week. That is £1,300 a year for a quarter hour of your time. Your grandmother visited the butcher, the greengrocer, and the baker separately. Not because she wanted to, because each one offered the best price on their specialty. We went backwards when we put everything under one roof and called it progress. And the #1 most illegal British kitchen secret to slash your weekly food bill: eating less meat. Before you close this video, listen. Nobody is saying go vegan. Nobody is saying give up your Sunday roast. But the single biggest line item in the average British food shop is meat, accounting for roughly 25% of total spend. That is £29 a week, £1,508 a year. Replacing just 2 meat meals per week with beans, lentils, eggs, or cheese saves approximately £15 a week. That is £780 a year. Dried lentils cost 85 pence per 500-gram bag and make 4 generous portions. Eggs cost £1.40 for 10. A tin of kidney beans costs 40 pence. These are not sacrifices. A proper bean chili is magnificent. A lentil dal with rice is one of the most satisfying meals on earth. Cheese and onion pie has been feeding Britain for centuries. Your grandmother ate meat maybe 3 times a week. The rest was vegetables, pulses, bread and cheese. She was not making a political statement. She was making the budget work, and her family was no less healthy for it. Try one of these this week, just one. Write a list and stick to it. Freeze that milk before it turns. Make Friday soup from the scraps in your fridge. Then come back and tell me what you saved. Drop it in the comments. I want to see the numbers. Because these are not secrets anymore. They are yours now. And once you see how much you have been overspending, you cannot unsee it. Your grandmother knew all of this. Now you know too.